I'm getting updates on Gamescom as we speak. Um Witcher stuff. So hello Steven. Hope you're also well. Hope your day is going well. Hope everything is good. Sorry, I'm trying to get things loaded. It's really hard. Yeah, Parrish is like filling me in on everything Gamescom, and I'm like, no. I'm eating it up. They announced the release date for Anata. I am very excited for that one. I am so excited for that one. That's the one I was excited for when they first announced it anyway. Here we go. We're gonna hope Final Fantasy is not on the wrong channel. We're gonna hope and pray. I think OBS opened with what you call it. We're gonna hope. We're gonna hope. If it didn't, I will be very disappointed. Oh, you wanna be well. Oh my god, I opened it the wrong fucking. I'm waiting for 14. I'm trying to think, how long has Witcher 3 been out? I was waiting. um okay, there's a lot that's happened today. There's a lot that's going on today. There's a lot that's happened today. There's um first and foremost, Dolly Parton died. That was very unexpected. I know my mom was a big fan. I very much knew about all of her work. Well, I shouldn't say all of her work, but I knew about some of her work. I definitely knew about some of her work. Very nice on the streak. Heck yeah. But yeah, I knew about some of her work. Um, it's very hard to ignore someone who has had such an impact on society overall, the way that Dolly Parton has. And yeah, she's gonna be sorely missed. I saw friends already who were like, celebrity deaths don't normally affect me, but this one got me. This one got me. It's a very somber day in that sense. And then you have also Gamescom going on. So if you are looking forward to any games in the midst of bad news, you're sad and excited at the same time, in a way. In a way, sad and excited. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot. I will probably catch up with Gamescom stuff after. Let me see if I just capture any full screen game. Does it bring it up? Yes. You like my fit? I'm on ferry today. Friday we were on Leviathan. Sorry, Excalibur. We were on Excalibur because myself, along with a friend of mine, Aura, we were doing some North Horn together, and I think that's what we're gonna be doing today. I kind of want to do dailies though, because I haven't really done reset dailies in a while. So I'm gonna go pick up. I might save Northhorn for tomorrow or for later when I'm done with. Actually, I might just do Amens and then just go straight to Northhorn. It sounds like that. That sounds like a plan, right? Sounds like the plan. I don't know. We will have a few days of stuff. Tomorrow is the today's the final day of the Moonfire fair. So if you didn't get your floaty yet, please go get it. Get it on your alts, all that good stuff. You're definitely gonna want that. It is very cool mount. I'm in my little summer fit. I'm in my little summer fit in game. Look at it. Look at it. It's actually my fishing one, but I put it on for Dark Knight. I don't know. I've been playing a lot of Dark Knight. I think it's because of Northhorn. I need tea. I haven't drank tea in a while during the stream. It would keep my voice from going out, like being all weird and so forth. Let's see. What am I doing? Oh yeah, I was switching to my fishing glam so you can see that it's actually my fishing glam. It's actually my fishing glam. Also, there's little Wally right there. What a good boy. Always by my side, no matter what. The cosmic rod. I gotta do the same for my ultimate case. Unfortunately. Well, I say unfortunately, but it should be fortunately. I might do that. I might try some of the leveling on that one tonight for gathering. What? Oh my god, the vanilla. I had no idea you were sub to vanilla. I had no idea. Like on Twitch. I did not. Oh. Or did you tell me then I forgot? I would have forgot. I don't think about it. I may have forgot. I'm forgetful sometimes. Also, hi Pookie. Hi. My official updater of all things Gamescom right now. Opening night. Opening festival. You only watch the VODs? Oh, yeah. That's right. You said that's the only VODs you like. She's the only ones whose VODs you will watch. Like to completion. Vanilla is so down to earth. Like I love every time I've watched a video of hers. Or it's something like you've shown me. I'm just like, she's so down to earth and so cool and so nice. Party. While I work for Vibes, I should start doing that with some people. I listen to music too much. You know when the Spotify stuff comes around? Let me sell some of this stuff real quick. This is diminishing. I really need to start up subs again. So my friend isn't like, you know, I can take over for you. I think it's a really nice gesture. He wants to take over. But I need my money. I really don't care about this one. Isn't there another one here? Oh yeah, this. I don't think I'm gonna use this ever. Why is it 62,000? I'm not gonna question. I forgot just that quickly. Okay, anyways. I'm not adjusting the prices of the other stuff because I'm pretty sure people have like undercut so much. I check my stuff and then I see people. Yes, I'm gonna do dailies because I haven't done dailies in a while and I feel bad And then I might think about Northbourne. I'm not sure. But I'm definitely thinking about dailies today. Because I haven't done them. And I feel bad. Should I put some of this up? 2 slots remaining. 1 slot remaining. Oh, let me go pick up my thingy. Am I log in? Okay. Let me know if you do. I'm gonna go get my book. As a fisher, I'm gonna go get my book. I have let my book expire the past 2 times, and I feel so bad. But like also Northbourne took over, as well as what else? Also, can I say the Midlander run is so funny to me? I don't know. It gives serotonin at the same time. It's like, what can I compare it to? It's like those joggers you see in like probably upstate New York. I've never lived in upstate New York, so. I wanted to receive one, but I guess I did. Why are you behind me like that, bro? Back up. Back up. I'll beat yourself. I'll beat with my hands. Die 1,000 deaths. Also, do you think anyone got my Galactus reference? Almost said Wally. Get! Hold on. I'm gonna change to healer because I'm gonna do 8 mans first. I'll do the rest later. After. Fire. Let me see what this dog is barking about. 1 second. Okay. Actually, let me start off with expert, I guess. But do I feel like doing expert first? You know what? Let me just get out the way. Let me see how. Let me see how. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, summer monk. This will be staying around until September. Meaning, after this month is over, he goes back to his regular monk glam. I think I put it on 3 people or two or 3 classes. Yeah, Reaper. No, I put it on 2. Okay, never mind. I put it on 2. So it's just monk and Reaper. That's it. Only 2 that gap. How much it says? 795. Do I still have 770 stuff? Yeah, I do. Where's my stuff at? I kind of want to upgrade stuff. Ethernet. Neat sauce. I have arrived. Wait, did it not? Oh, I was like, what the? Yes, invite parish to novice network. What the? Hello? Okay, you know what? I don't know what everyone's doing, and I don't know. This Hugo list. What do I need? Really, I should just get all of them. Legs are more expensive. To just get this. Do I have enough to upgrade them? Do you think I have enough to upgrade them? When I got on earlier, people were AFK on the boat. I don't know what they're doing. Like, where do I go to? Mom. You know what? I'm so silly. I should not have done it. Oh, I can. Wait, how many do I have? Only one? Well, I can get another one today. So much. I like how I went to the wrong one. What if I did this and I already had the pants? Oh, I have the Vanadil stuff too. Ooh, I didn't know that. Alright, I'm going back to my house. I said house, but it's more my apartment. Okay, Pookie. Oh wait, did you go to Solution? Oh no, you're in Tuli. Come back to it. You can see me in all my glory. By glory, I mean in all of my beautiful, glorious, luscious everything. I'm just following wherever this blue dot is. Oh, did you disappear? Or oh, I ran past you. Oh my god. I'm tracking down my own man. Oh my god. You can see me in all my glory again. I'm really bad at it. Am I going? Oh, you're right. I really did just like run right. I'm so summer. Look at me. I'm so summer. I'm so summer. Right, I'm going Reaper. Where is Reaper? I enjoy it. See, more summer. more summer. Sure, I can take out your kneecaps, but it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. You don't care. You ready? I like how it still says I'm machinist, or not machinist, monk, but I'm not. Yippee! Let's get it. Expert. I'm gonna turn my brain off. I'm gonna. Oh. Oh, I see. I understand. Yeah. 1 second. I have a Nemo. There we go. Was there anything else in um on Gamescom that was worth anything? Yeah, I just saw it. I was like, ooh. Ooh. I'm trying to think. How long is this? Does that thing go for? I had caffeine earlier. My brain and mouth no longer are they in tune, in sync. Bye bye bye. Witcher 3 was the last announcement, so we got release date of Anata. We got to see the new Koyo game, well, games that they're releasing soon ish. Witcher 3 stuff. I'm really excited for Anata because that's the one I think I've been waiting for the most. I thought that's they changed to NTE, but I forgot NTE also announced their thing around the same time as Anata. So I was so confused. But I think NTE is like the holdover game. Yeah, that's the one I thought was the Hoyo one. Is that the Hoyo one? Or is that made by someone different? Okay, so it's someone different. Oh yeah. Petite Planet. I have to watch the thing for that. I was watching the Anata one launch date trailer. But I have the Petite Planet one. Da, 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 da. I'm totally not saving my Shroud for the next pull. So I think it's gonna go away soon. Yeah. I should have just popped it right there. I'm very bad at that. It's okay. We may do that first pack really fast. I do have Sprint.
You're a sight for sore eyes.
I forgot there was voice acting in this dungeon. I completely forgot there was voice acting in this.
Appreciate the help.
Appreciate the help.
We'll handle things from here. Take care of the fisher.
Take care of the fisher. I was a fisher once. Fishing. I was fisher once. I could not do shit. I am so sorry. Oh my god, I did not mean to do that. I'll say it better go that way. I did that far too late. I got hit by that. Or so I thought. Oh, it is this way. Yippee. Hello? Come on, let me do the thing or not? Who opened that chest? I will have your head. I will have it on a platter. I don't know what accent that is. Don't question. I'm just gonna start off by doing this because I don't want to do that whole combo. Sometimes I'm lazy, I'm sorry. Not really. Why is this such a long hard pass? Hello? Is it gonna let me do that thing or not? I smell popcorn. And I kind of want popcorn now. Oh my god, it's candy. It's candy. Can't do it again. Promise. I definitely can't do the buff here. Oh, it's way out of range. So. That was definitely a camera. I fucking did it anyways. I am a failure. Well, I'm starting off with this. Short. I did that before he left, and I feel so satisfied with that. Oh my god. Oh wait, maybe that's him I smell. I don't even know what I'm smelling anymore. There was nothing I could do there, unfortunately. Of course I sit there like a dum-dum. Yippee! We are so like Boots knocked the house down. Oh my god. Am I gonna get murdered for that? Maybe. Hi Leo. Hi Diva. I was getting updates from Parrish the entire time. I completely forgot that it was on. So and I was like, I have streams, so I can't like actually tune in. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. There's a Nata, which I was looking forward to since I think like I feel like it's been a year or two now since it's been announced. I kind of just like the GTA style zaniness of that game. It's so funny. It looks funny. It looks fun. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the Pokemon one too. Pokemon-ish, like, do we just call them Pokemon like, you know, when we talk about Souls games or like Souls Late or Souls like something like that? do we just like specify that entire genre as that? Y'all have the longest cast times for these goddamn AoEs. Oh my god, I'm gonna like burn someone to the ground. I'll just boss room after this. I'll save stuff. Same with my intro. It looks so fun. Everything looks so cute. I like cozy games. I mean, I haven't played one in quite a while. Feels like. Oh, okay, sir. You came on strong. I feel like I mixed up the two, and I think that's okay. All this. Ishas. Isha. It's so long since I've done this dungeon. I feel like a noob. Things you never see me do. Play Reaper that often. Or hit True North that often. Is this where they... Oh my god! You know what? I didn't do it in time. That's fine. I could have teleported back. Oh my god. Oh my god! What happened? Oh, did they? Oh. Oh. I can love expert. I didn't have the other one. I did the wrong thing. Oh my god. You know what? Just take me out. This is one of the things where I have to look out for the big one. And it is. I was like, is he gonna do it? Because I was definitely gonna hit it and quit it. Where's the big one? I haven't played in a 1 minute there. I don't know why I read that like Lizzo. I don't know why. In a 1 minute. I don't need it. In a 1 minute. I don't know why. I don't know why I read it like that. I haven't played it in a 1 minute. I can read, I promise. Isn't he gorgeous? Just look at him. In his Summer Reaper. Isn't it? Isn't he just gorgeous? I just love him. I just want to kiss him. Anyways. And he's also gorgeous. Look at him. You know what? Home screen. Look at him. Beautiful, gorgeous, amazing. Slurpable. What? Who said that? Who would never? In public? In front of my salad? I'm demure. Oh, I hit the wrong button. I hit the wrong button. Does this give you red? Oh, this gives you red. Give me this. Girl, we're literally in your salad. This is your stream. Oh my god, he looks so cute when he does this. Oh, I'm sorry. I am absolutely distracted. Look how cute he looks. Look, I just want to tie him up. But I just want to. I just want to. With the killer lettuce? It's alright, actually. It's alright. We can't have the lettuce in there. You have to keep the lettuce out. You know, Daredevil will be out here like, let us devil in. That was a stretch, actually. That was... Actually, eggs here, too. We have a lot. We have a lot of things that are wrong with us in the United States of America. I'm so sorry. We are. You know, I wonder, how did we get to this point? And then I realized it's because. Yeah. Anyways. Level Kevin. What am I gonna change to? You know, I haven't played in 20 years. Dragon. Oh, he's not ready. Bro, he not ready. That's wild and crazy. I looked at a list. It was granola, eggs, lettuce, and then there's like a bunch of other things that are like infested with either E. coli or something like salmonella or something else. And I'm just sitting here patiently waiting for my death because I feel like I'm just gonna buy one of these products and actually, you know what? This is a good time to check. What has been recalled lately? Jalapenos? Frozen berries, outshine fruit bars, granola, alfalfa sprouts, dog food. Oh my god, there's so much. Oh, USA Today has something. Bruh, if it's ribs, I will literally just like not be of this earth anymore. So jalapenos, guacamole, salsas recalled. What is this? Rice and bean burrito? Oh my god. That's in New England, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont. There's so many, like, there's so much stuff. I'm not. I don't know if any of this is hit like near here. I'm pretty sure it has. Outshine bars with the UPC. Oh my. I'm with guac and salsa, but I think it's okay in the UK. Yeah, it was like in a certain area in the US. And I was just like, oh, why? Yeah, so much food. So much food. What's contaminated? That's what I need to. Oh, what foods have been contaminated? It gives me the same thing. Thank you, CDC, which obviously has been stripped of a lot. So, active investigations by germ. E. coli 5. Salmonella 23. Listeria 7. Campylobacter 2. I probably said that wrong. Yeah, literally alfalfa sprouts for E. coli and salmonella, shell eggs, jalapenos, iceberg lettuce, frozen berries, powdered infant formula, soft ricotta cheese, raw dairy, some capsules. Oh, there's a lot, bro. October 5th, I do want to try Ion too. I said Aeon. Lucius was telling me a lot about it before, and I really, really, really wanted to try it myself. I'm gonna let you know that I might be fourth. we get to the boss, that is. Oh, I didn't use what you call it. Oop, my bad. I'm not gonna lie, I need to uniform all my stuff because I thought these two were switched. Yeah, Lucius was telling me a lot about it. So I'm interested. I think they say it was like very pay to win on Asia servers, and they might be looking to tone that down for when it hits like the other like side. Someone said I made Dragoon look fun, and I was like, that is the biggest compliment I think I can ever get. But this is also when I was doing EX3 on Dragoon and Samurai. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that one. Is my mic loud, by the way? I hope it's not. I know yesterday we were talking about it. I don't know if it stayed loud or not. Or no. Oh my god. I hit the wrong button. Was I not paying attention to someone's position? I was so confused about how I died there. I just get one over here. I knew I would be. I actually don't know where I was earlier. I don't think about it. I'm gonna get hit, maybe. Mining. Mining. But yeah, I like to play a little cozy game. I do want to. I've been re-downloading mods for Fields of Mystia and Stardew. There was there's a few that I remembered from like a friend's playthrough that they were doing, like the experience bars and so forth. I'm trying to find the one that gives it a lesser, like yellowish tint to everything. Trying to find that. I found some like redesigns that look really nice for some of the icons, which I think are really nice, really cute. The way it looked like he was coming for my Badussi, oh my god. Oh my god! I cannot believe it. I love straight line AoEs. They're great. I'm gonna hope that I have both of those back by the time we actually go. Or at least one of them. I will not. It's okay. It's okay! Why is... I know it's gonna get hit by that. I did that on the wrong skill, but it's okay. I could barely see. I actually walked through it. Oh my god. Actually walked through it. That's crazy. Yay, we did it. I get so locked in. My hair hurts. My hand hurts. Also, is my internet lagging? Oh, no drop frames, so I don't know what's going on. I'll wait till we get to the pad. I'm gonna actually dislike the last boss here because the last boss is kind of a pain in the ass if you're melee. All right. There'll be no interrupting this big guy this time. It's okay. I'm looking forward to them remastering Witcher as well. I've been waiting to replay Witcher a little bit, maybe. But it's such a long game. Like, that's an incredibly long game. Like, oh my god. Yippee! We made it through. We made it through. What is this? I don't care about it. Whee! Oh my god, it's my former cousin because I'm no longer Vieira. Wait, did you see the chart on Twitter? Why did that not pop? Hello? I think mine true north is gone. I don't know where the other one's going. Okay, so I'm safe. Am I screwed? I'm screwed. Oh my god, when you have a ring. Hello. I'm staying right over here because we're gonna have to come over here anyway. Yep. Of course it would go that way. Of course it would go that way. Which way is it gonna go though? Oh my god, thank you. I will keep going because obviously someone is not gonna give me space to go in. I'm afraid to do the jump there. Oh, we have no positionals right now. I really want to hit backflip, but I know I'm not gonna land properly. Like I'm landing in the goo. my god, it goes that way again? The way I kept going. Oh, okay. Hello, little tank. I did not know the tank was gonna be right there. You know what? The tank gets it. Oh, never mind. I was gonna give it to the tank, and the tank said, "No, I don't want your accommodation. I don't need your accommodation. Go somewhere." Is that Cindy Lauper? Oh, Cindy Lou. I was very disappointed. I was incredibly disappointed. Oh, hold on. Let me stretch. That sounded. I'm not gonna say it sounded. All right. What's the next one? What else is leveling? I'm going to trials. I don't feel like that. I'm kidding. I'll do level. What are the chances that? Oh, let me make sure you didn't need to pee yet. Sometimes I just be going and okay. Oh my god. Damn, I didn't get to do all my stuff. Sadness. True sadness. Okay. So they hate us. So they hate us. Wait, I don't even have an AoE. I went back to leveling for the red homes. All the red homes. I thought I had AoE down at this level. Oh, it's 25 I do. Sadly. Like, which one are you gonna target next? Oh, I can't. I can't squirt. I wish I didn't go heal. I wish I didn't go Cryptomancer. Well, at least it gets easier after this part. Full wise. Until that one room that has like everything in it. You know what? That's what I get for thinking I had a shield that extends to the entire party. Where is this place? Awesome. So while we're here, y'all, what is your favorite Dolly Parton song? I want to know. Ooh, it's still going through all the Shade Seekers. It addled because I felt like it. I don't know if I could have slept that, but I'm pretty sure that could have been. Oh, never mind. It's two rain. It's two like casters. That's crazy. Who would have thought? Not me. Don't you dare open that. Son of a bitch. Go, Tank. Tank, go. 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 Actually, does Red Mage have AoE down at this level? Because if they do, I think we should nerf Red Mage. Don't listen to that now. I was on the wrong person this whole time. Crazy. Man, I want to smudge. I want to smudge. I want to smudge. The fact that I can be all the way back here and hit that, wild. Let me get the guys that's on him first. I keep going back to this one guy. There we go. I was about to do the same damn thing. That's the funny part. And I'm really against like not letting tanks pull. Get that key. Yes, get that gate. Open the gate. Smacks butt. I am. I'm thinking of that Groot stuff from yesterday. I was thinking about it all day after I got off stream. I thought it was so funny. I don't know why. I just found it funny. I have the zoomies. Mainly because I want to get the hell out of this dungeon. Because I know the 8-mans are going to go faster. Then the dogs come out. Who let the dogs out? Eat them alive. Oh, don't eat us. We don't deserve to be eaten. A small dog right there, I tell you what. You adopted one of them small dogs like that. We're almost done. Just this little part right here. And then we beat up the final boss and then we're done. He's gonna pull the entire room though. Like most things. I don't like pulling that much down at this level. Because you know no one has AoEs. So it's gonna be horrendous. I can't wait to heal an 8-man. No more chests have been opened since. Is that the only chest? No. I do appreciate the fact that they were willing to wait for a red mage. Yippee! Okay, now we can heal high level content. Oh my god, yay! Never again. I don't normally do leveling because it always gives us a lower. Wait, do you want to go shield healer? Because I know you've been playing Scholar a lot before the break. Because I can go white major, Astro, if you want to play shit. My back hurts, bro. That's what's up to me. My back not hurting. I'm trying not to shrimp in my chair. So bad. It's hard. It's hard. Let me drink water. We'll do trials. Actual trials. You see it right here. Oh my god, it pops so fast. I need to drink food. I said drink food. I meant eat food. In game. I've already eaten lunch. Also, my water bottles have been filled to the brim lately. Like some of them, I'm like, what do they do? Like, what do they do? Ooms. Did it go? Oh, it didn't. Just happened. I don't know why, but for some reason that Nice too. We go over here. I didn't realize. I forgot that was a multi-hit tank buster. That hit me? In what world? The stage change? Look at all the different like planets. Like, isn't it so cool? I was like, when is it gonna lock us? Damn, that's a fat shield. I know that was like partially them doing that, but still. Just in case. I don't know why, but I know there's like that's bad. You are fine where you are. Why did I think that was the moment that they were gonna do like the big AoE one? 'Cause there's a big AoE moment that comes up after. It's this one. Oh. I like to check once in a while. I gotta wait for the other one to come back for the next one. This is actually the coolest scenery that you will ever see. Well, actually not really. I thought when this fight first came out, like this section, that section was like the coolest part. We just tried to blind us. Put them in jail. Put them in jail. I mistyped it the first time. I was slow. Normal raid. Yippee. Oh god, I'm afraid of which normal raid we're gonna get. I'm afraid, mama. I'm also afraid about the alliance raid, but we'll see. I'll do another raid. If you want to change any point, let me know. Okay. I had no food during that entire fight. Oh. I just realized that. No food was active during that. There is something I need to try later tonight. Because I got kicked off last night. Out of nowhere. I was just like, I was in the middle of, okay, so last night I was in the middle of a pose. And I was getting the expressions and everything. And right as I'm fine-tuning stuff. Oh! Is this the same? I'm doing the most like craziest version of the opener. I actually forgot when the I thought we just got the same duo, but I don't think so. this water? Yeah. It's the knockback, which I think you can actually resist. Yep. Okay. If it's acid, I know it's puddle on the floor after, something like that. Uh, which one becomes active? Lightning. So we go far. I did that far too late. Puddle, so spread. Wait, which one did you? I don't think you take any damage from this if you're in the right spot. Or wrong spot. Never mind, you do. I lied to myself. Can I do that before? I'm getting lazy. I'm getting lazy. I'm getting late on a lot of stuff. Nice to pulse back. Could be worse. What could be worse? Oh my god. Okay. I do need to BRB myself, actually. Okay. Enjoy your break. I take a small break and then I go into line trade. So I'll be right back. We are so back, chat. We are so back. Actually, hold on 1 second. Okay. We go in to Alliance Raid, and we hope we don't get Crystal Tower. I just know it. I just know we are. But man, I would like to use all of my abilities, if you will. If you will. It would be so nice. So perfect. So everything. Oh, did Miley say something? Oh my god, that Twitter saying fans show loyalty to their their favorite Marvel like character in I like how people are like, oh my god, why would you pick Mr. Fantastic? Mr. Fantastic is fun. I don't give a shit. You know what? We're gonna play Rivals sometime this week, right? And I'm gonna pick. I mean, I did it. What, Monday? Yeah, Monday. Yesterday. It was a bot match, but still, I picked Mr. Fantastic, and I was having the time of my life. All right, I was having fantastic. It was such a great time being Mr. Fantastic, but also it was like, also it was bot match. So obviously, I'm gonna have a little bit. I feel like we've we've gotten to meta brain. Like everything has to be meta. You have to play the meta character so you can win games. But you can easily win a game with any character as long as you know how to use them correctly. You know? I hear it a lot with gacha games. People who are like, your account is bricked because you didn't get this character and you have these characters. It's like, no, my account isn't. I will find my own synergy with all of these characters. Because eventually, one of these like 80 characters that I have on this game are gonna synergize with each other. The way I built it. I don't think meta is all that. Meanwhile, me playing Iron Fist. Wow, no one's doing Alliance Raid in this economy? Crazy. We didn't have a lower level one? No, we didn't. After this Alliance Raid, I'll go into Northhorn. Because it seems like we'll have time to do that. I fucking fell. Oh my god. Talking all that mess. Wait, I gotta get back up to Boo first. Oh, not yet. Okay. Now commence. I haven't done dailies in a while, so I was like, yeah, let's do that. Parish hop. Parish hop. Peak! It's peak! It's peak! Oh my god. No, I love this raid. People don't know this, but this is like my all-time, one of my all-time favorite alliance raids. This is legitimately one of my all-time favorite alliance raids. I would say this is number one, and then the third and final, well, the second and third. Second and third Dawn Trail alliance raid. I didn't do shit. Oh, that's right. I have stone right. Ah, get these fucking shits off me, bro. And we have the power to the echo. Nice. About that dig. I love this raid. Fran! I'm outrunning her, but Fran, I love her. I want to play 12. I want to finish 12. Not play it. I want to finish it. Because I have a save ongoing on my PS5. I really should finish. Same with Final Fantasy VIII. Not gonna lie, I kind of want to farm the beginning monsters and see if I can get no encounters on one of my GFs. Goes to the other side. I'm just doing this because I don't know if people are getting hit or not. I mean, technically, I can stand right here. Or right here. Oh, I could have stood right here. This is a weirdo. Um. Show him your hole. I think he should take me to dinner first before I show him that. That's right. You heard me correctly. Okay, there we go. That person's gonna get fucked up. now the two of you know, and you get healed. Energy burst. Maintenance, so safe right in this area. I like how far back they went. It's kind of silly. I don't know how many people are new to this. Another AoE, right? Or raid wide? I'm going over here again. I was already I was trying to heal the last thing, but I ended up healing the raid wide as well. Show your hope, baby. That doesn't sound good at all. Okay, we're good.
With this, my journey can, at long last.
I think it's right here. There it is. Didn't show. Oh. I'm looking at how they're explaining that mechanic to the person in there.
The Beowulf youth guides your fate, but have you the faith to fulfill his legacy?
Have we all arrived? Why am I tired? After this, I'm gonna go downstairs. Oh, it's our tank.
To the current of life we succumb. Its judgment swift and final. Its bite as cold as steel.
was trying to think of something I wanted to say, but nothing. I'm so cold. Oh, they got it. Never mind.
The hearts of men are black with corruption.
No! How dare they take me down into the depths of hell? Who are they? Who made them the righteous? Whatever. Oh, using the wrong thing for that. Weapon skills, weapon skills, weapon skills.
I call out to the skies and tremble as the brilliance of 1,000 bolts blinds mine enemies and tears their flesh asunder.
Well, we survived, so that's good. This one happens a lot faster. That person once again.
The dreams of men are fleeting, yet they must be embraced if they are to flourish. Have you the faith to do as much?
There we go.
Oh, divine light,
I feel like some of my buttons are not registering.
gaze deep into the light.
Good cover by our co-healer. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They who dwell aloft have spoken. Let their words echo in your empty soul. Ruination is come!
There are so many people who were caught in that. That was very rude.
Well fought, champion.
Yippee!
I leave you now
Okay.
to your quest. My Ovelia awaits.
Ba-ba-da-da-da-da. God, I love this raid. The music, the fights in here, despite the fact that we have Echo, it still feels like semi-tough to me. Well, I guess it depends, because sometimes you have runs that go, I feel like they go really fast, and you can skip a few mechanics in these later fights. You can skip a few. Not Thunder God, but like, you could skip maze, and I think that's still possible. I think that's still pretty possible. I don't think I've seen maze. I mean, no. Last time I ran this, I did see maze. Oh, so you just don't have to. Careful. Baka. I mean, y'all can move to the next one. Oh my god. That would have been death if someone was standing there. That would have been death. It would have been kind of funny. It would have been death. Imagine. You're just simply vibing, and then you just get murdered by a 2-stack of that. And we're good. One of my favorite voice acting jobs in this entire raid. What are we, A? Wait, are we left or right?
Servant of Iblis. Or perhaps
Are we this way?
Another.
Or this way?
I am Count Sidolphus Orlando.
I don't know why I thought we were the other
Journey
side.
Ends here. The hearts of men are black with corruption and must needs be cleansed. I call out to the skies and tremble as the brilliance of 1,000 bolts blinds mine enemies and tears.
Girl, you can't be over here.
To the current of life we succumb. Its judgment swift and final. Its bite as cold as steel.
Man was doing this voice like the rent was due.
Darkness and drown in its loveless embrace. The gods will not be watching. Misfortune hangs heavy on a head once held high. Such is poor cover for when the heavens fall. Come, show me more.
Ow, motherfucker.
Seven shadows cast, seven fates foretold. Yet at the end of the broken path lies death, and death alone.
I mean, there is like a little part, like I think this circle is safe for when he does the out slash.
To live by the sword is to die by the sword. There is time enough for regret in the flames of hell.
I always find it funny when there's more than just the allotted amount that's supposed to be there.
Endless is the path that leads
I wanna swing from the chandelier, from the chandelier. Owie, that was rude. We might be able to skip the second set of that. Oh, there's so many people dead over there. That one. Where is that person? I hope they are a gentleman. I really want to give them this thing. There it is. I'm going to right out this one. I don't think we've ever wiped on this part, but we might? Is it possible? That light is so blinding bright, I did not see my own character for a moment. I did not see my own warrior of light. This next part can be taken by healers. If it's tether.
Come, show me more. Escape is not so easily granted.
I always hug the wall.
Were you expecting a modicum of rust? You will find my defenses quite impenetrable.
Where's little man going?
A piteous display.
This circle. Actually, this square is more safer right here.
Dwell aloft have spoken. Words echo in your empty soul. Ruination is come. Even the strongest of shields cannot defend the weakest of wills. A moment's hesitation beckons a lifetime of pain.
We all take one. Wait, whose tether did we get? Did they bring their tether over here? Oh my god. That's actually kind of crazy. So why are we coming to the same spot? Oh, this is terrible.
You will find my defenses quite impenetrable.
This is gonna be bad.
The screams of ruin rise above the storm's
I have actually not seen this part in quite some time.
endless call.
Okay, they are a big fan of Frostbite. That's cool. Oh my lord.
Show me more.
My fucking butthole puckered up. I'm not gonna lie to you. And there we go.
The
Whee!
skies clear. It is time my magic
Well, that was
fell
something
further.
else. Yeah, no one put down the markers for this, so there's a lot of confusion on where people needed to be, and that could have ended really badly. It could have, but it it didn't. It didn't. It's fine. I'm gonna do a little dance while we're waiting. Hopefully no one accidentally pulls while I'm doing it. I also just like watching the little skirt here just dance. It's so nice. I don't know. You don't see this in a lot of games. You definitely don't see this in WoW. Like on WoW, it's like who the hell is this and why are they so close to me? Oh, I know this guy. You can get a region.
You shall rue the day you raised your eyes to the heavens.
They're playing dancer.
Kneel before me.
I'm fine, right?
Your very soul shall not escape my wrath.
I wonder. Do we skip this part? Oh no! Oh no!
Denizens of
I
the
watched him
abyss,
die in cold blood.
I summon
I'm trying to figure where I want to be for this. Oh, never mind. It's not that. Oh, this is hella crowded. I was like, this is hella crowded. We have to,
denizens of the abyss, from ink of blackest night,
I
I summon
summoned you. So sometimes it does. Oh, that's a lot going on there, brother.
denizens of the abyss, from ink of blackest night, I summon.
All right. This is either gonna make or break the alliance. Like all of them. I didn't get the Dorito. Oh! Who is bringing their AoEs this way? Your mother is a nice lady. don't have to worry about a lot of things. I believe it's like right here. I was one square. Well, not really. I try to remember where they're actually gonna be for this. Did I put it on them? Doesn't matter. It's gonna be dead in like 2 seconds. Yep. I've never looked at the actual thing for. Someone fall off? I thought I saw someone like fall off. I was very confused and concerned. Is that mine? No, it's not mine. Someone else's. What that bottom half doing?
Denizens of the abyss, from ink of blackest night, I summon.
Oh, I can stay here because it's gonna move.
Kneel before me.
See? Well, it's not us, so not too worried about it. Who are these people near me?
Your very soul shall not escape my wrath.
1, 2. Actually, right here is fine.
Denizens of the abyss, from ink of blackest night, I summon.
Summon. Looking to see if any of our people are going for that. Only saw one.
Denizens of the abyss, from ink of blackest night, I summon.
I gotta stop doing that. I don't know who that was, but they zoomed so fast. We're going.
Denizens of the abyss, from ink of blackest night, I summon.
Oh my god, we skipped the maze. That's crazy. GG's. Other healer gets my combination, and I leave. Wow! Wowie wow wow wowie wow wow wowie wow. Oh, he's gone. True sadness. Oh, he lucked. That's so fair. All right, we go to Horn for the rest of the stream. It'll be a short Horn, but North Horn. We go. Can we go from here? Oh, we can. That was a fun run, honestly. That was a really fun run. It was kind of funny seeing someone that I know in there. I don't run into like too many mutuals and duties, but when I do, it's really fun. It's really funny sometimes. It's like, hey, I know you, random person. I'm kidding. I don't say that. I should though. I should, because I think that would be. Oh my god, hey Oh my god, random person. What do you mean random person? Random person, hi. Oh my god, are you popping your pussy severely? You gotta make them mad that they, you know, you pop yours severely and they don't pop. You gotta make them regret their life decision. Was there something up here? No. I don't even have the thing up here. All right, I don't have the thing that everyone else has, so thank God I remember where everything is. Which one are we doing right now? It was not Black Mage, not White Mage. Geomancer. Marasov? Oh, tower's already underway. Sadness. Is this a fresh instance? Oh, it is. Kinda. Alright, where's this thing at? Here are the towers. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, she's pretty. Okay, don't click on the thing I wanted you to click. Leafkin! It took me so long to get that. It took me so long to get Leafkin, but I was so happy. It's so cute. It's literally the cutest thing in the world. I think we'll be able to squeeze in. I don't think we'll be able to do a tower run, but we'll be able to squeeze in a few, maybe 1 or 2 CEs, and then end stream, and then I go get dinner. I probably won't raid today, like raid out, just like end stream. I don't feel weird raiding people and going to make dinner because immediately I always come back and watch them while I eat. There's so many things that infested. In fact, what the hell? I was looking at something and it just like refreshed me. Oh, that's I heard a samurai. Get out of here, samurai. This should be fun though. Nice way to chill out before ending stream. Oh, that's what's cool. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? It's the man who transforms. I forgot what my dash one is. Oh, they stopped them when that happens. Very, very nice. Very cool. I want to put my music back on, but oh, I'm going this way. Also, I forgot to do this too. Oh no, that person is DCing in the middle of it. Ian, how you feeling? Oh, I'm so screwed. Maybe not because I'm better. I fucked up on something. The sniffer. It's the sniffer for me. Where are you going? Oh my god. I suddenly now do not want to do the weapon skill I was about to do. I didn't realize it was moving diagonally. I thought it was in melee range for that. It's not. Watch this man do some fuck ass shit again. You know what? Fuck it. Skinny, I guess. Oh, man, I fucked myself up on that one, bro. I ain't even gonna hold myself to that one. I fucked myself up on that one. Damn. Damn. I don't think I'm getting picked up. Or if I am, it's gonna take a while. Is that guy shirtless? I'll wait till after this. That was such a clutch. I hate it. Can you not do these things when I'm... I think I'm screwed. I'm not screwed. Yippee! Which one of these has the healing one? Is it Amos? Oracle, I mean? Oh. Wait, is it? No. No, it is Chemist. Oh, that's right. I gotta learn to switch to Chemist after these things. All right, we look for chests in the meantime till our next one pops. Or a pot. It's one of them. 21 minutes. Damn. 21 minutes still pot. Okay, we can turn off music here. What if they told him that as a lie and it was in the next like 2 minutes and people just started going looking for a party, looking for group pots? That would be so unreal. That would be incredibly unreal. Tournament in 2004. It brings back memories. Actually, I had so much fun in that game. I can't tell you the amount of hours. I think if not for the demo that we would play in class, and also having Wake on one of the computers in computer class, I don't think I would have been introduced to that in particular. Yeah, I don't think I get introduced to that. Is there ever silver over here? I'm trying to remember. Trying to remember. I think a bronze is normally over here, but I don't see. Oh, there's the bronze. Bronze, no. Bronze or silver? I'm gonna check all over this area. You can't harm me, Rorg. Rorg. Never mind. CE is at hand. Where? Are we near a teleport? We're coming up on one. Where? Oh, where? Looking at the map and going, where? Oh, where is this teleporter? Nah. Nah. Why's he crying like? You gotta ask Skeletor. So that kind of sounded like a 90s or 80s mafia guy crying. Oh my god. This is me vibing, by the way. It just, oh, it's on this platform. Is it the shapeshifter? It's the shapeshifter. Has to be. Has to shapeshift. What they tell the church. Have to know how to shapeshift. Oh, it's not the weather for. Oh. Not gonna flap my wings on them. Oh, they have the same wings I have. Stowed away. I have. I think it's the last seat. Either that or we have one more we can fit in after this. What is my highest tank right now? I think it's this one. This one's behind because it doesn't have weapon. This one is behind because it's being leveled. Where's War? This one and Dark Knight are about the same. You know what? I might just say screw it and go Dark. He's so adorable. Just gonna pinch those cheeks. Man, I love Midlanders. I don't know. I love everyone. Well, I shouldn't say I love everyone. I love almost everyone. Almost. I love everyone as a person. I think when you have a personality, that is a big plus. Oh, this. Oh. I never know how quickly that goes. I want to wait for the shadow to come back. So if we get power weather, that's the end. That's my least favorite mechanic out of all of them. I can't do anything. Oh, I thought he was gonna do raid wide after. I'll just take it. It's fine. Or not, because it never went that way. Well, I went that way, but it never went that way. Once again, not getting anything to break that shield. I could get the bell right there. This is the end. This is the end. That was a terrible idea to do that. Actually, I'm gonna go over here. I think this is safe. Okay, yeah, so another scene. Yippee. I keep forgetting you can also get tomes from here. So if you spend enough time in here, you will cap out red tomes. Instead of doing dailies all the time. That's if you like build up like this. If it keeps you interested, that is. Oh my god, excuse me. Whee! I'm going to the normal spot, but there's a silver chest. Going to the usual spot. Oh, it's pretty late. It's getting for Pookie Bear. Never calling him that again. Unless he wants me to. Oh my god, the floaty. Today's the last day of the event, by the way. If you haven't done the event, I would say to go do it. It's your floaty. It's cute. It's cute. Is it not over here? Is it not over here? This have I bamboozled? It's normally over here. Where's it? Wow, for the first time, it's not over here. Why? But oh, huh? Okay. Well, watch that. I actually missed it. Oh, the other spot is over in the dangerous area, but I don't feel like going there yet. Instead, let's go to the other dangerous area. That would house it. Actually, no, that was our last seat. Just look for chests. For the time being. Maybe? I don't know. I just know I gotta. That's gotta be soon. Wait, is there silver up here? There's gotta be, right? I don't really get much of anything from these chests, to be honest with you. Like, I've gotten dyes, I think. I think that's pretty much it. I got stuck. If it's not here, the silver, I'm gonna cry. Chat, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Wow. I can't believe they did not give me the silver right there. Where is this? Where am I in relation? I'm on the other side of the freaking map. I want one of those drops to miss. I know that's a very impossible thing to happen, but I would like it to miss. Are pots soon? Okay. Okay, there's someone just like sitting here. Are pots soon? It's been 21 minutes since that? And oh yeah, it's coming up. Okay, we'll do pots and then we'll leave or not do the CE. Pots are definitely coming up, but that CE will probably be done before pots. I wonder how they're gonna scale it though. If there's gonna be like the usual scaling or not. Like new instant scaling. Oh my god. Start a puppy. Same people I follow who have not played 14 in a while, or who probably have been influenced to play 14. Everybody, who's the biggest person you hate? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's a wild question to ask, actually. You know, could you imagine you meet someone for the first time and their first question to you is, so who's the bitch you hate? And then you two just start your own haters club right there? Oh my god. That'd be so real though. I wouldn't do that. I just wouldn't. I think I've had more people ask or tell me like someone that I should be careful around than being like, well, yeah, I hate that guy or I hate that person. It's very rare to hear. Very, very rare. What the hell? Oh. Whatever I just saw her. Okay, I gotta sit up. Because if I do, oh, my shit fell. It's all right. It's cool. I did not keep track of all that. I have 4 minutes to go, refresh, and then come back. I probably would. Do you think anyone has ever died during a pod's fate in this? Do you think they've ever died during that? That might be a little saddening, actually, if they did. Let's check on our... That's not what I wanted to check on. That was hitting map. 44%. They might actually finish that before 4 minutes is left. Or they'll be very late to it, at least. To the very least. Wait, what if the silver is in the subterranean? Not too small. What if the silver is somewhere down here in the back rooms? What if? What if? I thought that said Jolt, and I was like, I know someone, but no, it's Jet. Yeah, it's Jet. I'm surprised my dog didn't come in. What the hell? So where are you painting red? Or are you painting black? Get off my mouth so we can stop hearing the flaps of wings. It looks like he's on guard all the time. It's kind of funny. Kinda funny. Billy, Billy, right to me. I can't remember. I can't believe I remember that. I better get one. That's some bullshit. I'm getting out of here. You will rule the day. How come it, like, there's like so little people on that fate? And then they're like, yeah, you didn't participate. I'm like, yes, I did. I was there. I hit something. Of course. Disgusting. Okay, that's it for me. Not because of that, because it's getting dinner time. Here in the city. Here in the city. I will see y'all tomorrow for more North Horn. Today's the last day for the boat event. So if you haven't gotten your boat yet, your boat, your floaty yet, you should totally do that. Go get your floaty, go be happy, float around, fly around in it. It'll be really fun. Pew pew pew. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, I will see y'all tomorrow. Thank y'all for hanging out. Thank y'all for being very nice and cool. And as always, take care of yourselves, each other, most of all your friends and family. Love your faces. Join Discord if you want. I have a Discord. You know that? I don't really promote it as much, but I have a Discord. A lot goes on in there right now. Also, you getting to know when I go live and stuff. But if you want to join that, you can. Sometimes we act a fool in there. Sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of your time zone. Mwah. Bye.